it is important for undocumented and DACA students to know their options when it comes to paying for college. While they don't qualify for federal aid, they may still qualify for state or institutional aid by completing the TASFA, the Texas Application for State Financial Aid. TASFA is only for students who are not eligible to complete the FAFSA. So if the student is eligible to complete the FAFSA, they should not do the TASFA. In order to complete the TASFA, students must be considered Texas residents. There are 3 criteria for Texas residency. The first is that the student has to have graduated or will graduate from a Texas high school or received a GED certificate in Texas. The student must have lived in Texas for the 3 years leading up to graduation from a Texas high school. The student must have lived in Texas for the 12 months leading up to their enrollment in college. Unlike the FAFSA, the TASFA is a paper-based application. The student will fill out a TASFA for each college or university that they are applying to. The TASFA is only accepted at Texas colleges and universities. The student should check with each college and university to see that they accept the TASFA. If the school does not accept the TASFA, then the student should contact the financial aid office to see what other options are available. Something to note when working with TASFA students are that the available funds are much more limited than the FAFSA. So they should complete the TASFA as soon as possible. This means that the student should also apply to their colleges and universities much earlier than other students. Although the TASFA application is not available until October 1st, it is a good idea to gather all supporting documentation that you will need. First, if the student has DACA, they will need to provide a copy of their employment authorization card. The student will also need to provide income and tax information from the prior year of the year they wish to enroll in college. So for this year, when they enter in 2018, you will need 2016 information. If the student or their parents filed taxes, have them bring a copy of the tax return and any W-2s or 1099s they might have. Also, if the student and their parents filed taxes, have them order a tax transcript from the IRS. To order a tax transcript, go to the following website. On this website, you will click Get Transcript by Mail. You will need the Social Security number or I-10 for the tax filer, their birthday, and the address they used on the prior tax return, in this case 2016. The transcript will be mailed to that same address in 5 to 10 business days. Make sure the students tell their parents to keep an eye out for it so that they don't get scared by a letter from the IRS. If the student has moved addresses or they or their parents did not file taxes, you will need to fill out a form 4506-T. For students that have moved, put the previous address as it appears on their tax return and then put their new address. Check box 6A for tax return transcript and put the last day of the year for the tax period. In this case, December 31st, 2016. If the student or parents did not file taxes and made under the IRS filing threshold, then you will use the same form 4506-T to request a verification of non-filing letter for the same tax year. Check the box for line 7. Then you can fax the form to the appropriate number found on the second page of the form. Besides income information, students will need to submit a notarized affidavit of residency with their TASFA. This asserts that the student meets the eligibility criteria and is eligible to receive state financial aid. Your school most likely has its own notary, so ask around before sending students to a bank or post office. The affidavit can be found through Apply Texas or through the Office of Financial Aid. If the student is male, they are required to register for the Selective Service System. Unless they have a Social Security number, they must fill out a form and mail it in. The form can be found on sss.gov. Once they are 17 years and 3 months old, they can register. Once they are registered, they will get a proof of registration in the mail that they will need to provide to the financial aid office at a later date. We recommend making copies of all supporting documents because they will need to be sent to each college or university. Now to the actual TASFA application. It pretty much asks the same basic questions as the FAFSA. We recommend that the student downloads the TASFA application from the collegeforalltexans.com website and saves it as a PDF on their computer. This saves time, especially when a student is applying to multiple schools. All they have to do is complete the entire TASFA application once, which can be used for all schools as long as the student updates the college student ID number on page 1 and the college name on page 5 for each school they will send it to. Ensure that the ID and school name match up on each application. Be sure to remind the student that if their parents did not file taxes and were under the income threshold set by the IRS, they will need to fill out Part F of the TASFA application and explain what sources of income or public assistance they use to pay for living expenses. When the student completes the application, review it with them. Ensure every question is answered and nothing is left blank. Put NA for any questions that don't apply. Gather all of the supporting documents and the TASFA application to send to each financial aid office of the colleges or universities the student has applied to. Check the financial aid office's website to see their preferred delivery method, whether that be fax, mail, or email. The student should follow up with each school through their student portal online or by phone or email to ensure the college received their application and that no further documentation is required. And that's it. The hardest part of completing the TASFA application is gathering all the supporting documentation. We suggest using our checklist to help the student gather all the documents. As a review, the student will need the following. All of those go into one package, so get some big envelopes. For any additional questions, visit the College for All Texans TASFA page or the TASFA application instructions on pages 6 through 11 of the TASFA application. Although this process might seem overwhelming, please reach out to any financial aid representatives or college advisors for help completing your TASFA application. The money is available. You've just got to complete your TASFA.